Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at the autonomous trucking industry.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and the race to kind of change how things are moved all over the world.
Hmm.
We're looking at three companies specifically, Torc Robotics, Amazon, and Aurora Innovation.
Okay.
And they're all doing really interesting things.
Yeah, it seems like they're all kind of tackling different pieces of this puzzle.
Yeah, and some really intriguing stuff, too.
Yeah, like what?
Well, we've got one company that has completely changed their autonomous trucking strategy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And we're going to see Amazon making a huge investment in electric trucks, but not in the U.S.
Interesting.
And we've also got a legal battle brewing over roadside safety for driverless trucks.
Ah,
Yeah. And we're going to look at what that could mean for the future of the industry.
okay. Well, let's jump in then.
Yeah, let's start with Torc Robotics.
Okay.
So they've completely, like you said, revamped their strategy.
Okay.
They're pulling out of all their previous testing locations.
Yeah.
Yeah, and going all in on one single route. Dallas-Fort Worth to Laredo, Texas.
Oh, wow, that's a big change.
Yeah, I mean, they're abandoning their original testing grounds.
Where were those?
Albuquerque, New Mexico, and even Stuttgart, Germany.
Wow, so they're really just focused on this one route.
Yeah, and this isn't just any route.
Right.
It's a major freight hub.
Hmm.
Something like 15,000 truck crossings every day.
Wow.
And over $320 billion in trade flows through there every year.
So why are they suddenly so focused on this one route?
Well, it seems like it signals a lot of confidence from Torque.
Yeah.
You know, they recently completed a driverless truck test on a closed course at 65 miles per hour.
Okay.
So they're showing that they're ready to move from controlled environments to real-world roads.
That makes sense.
And I think choosing this specific route shows that they think their technology can handle it.
Yeah, it's a pretty high traffic, high value route.
Exactly. So they're going for a big leap forward.
It is risky though, right?
It is definitely risky.
I mean, that route is known for congestion and unpredictable weather.
Yeah. So they're betting that their autonomous system can not only navigate those challenges,
Right.
but do it better than a human.
Yeah, if they can pull it off consistently and safely, they could be the front runner to commercialize autonomous trucking.
Definitely a high-stakes gamble. And it makes you wonder about their international strategy.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Well, pulling out of Germany could mean they're focusing on the U.S. for now.
It'll be interesting to see if other companies follow suit.
Yeah. Or if this is just a Torque thing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's shift gears and talk about Amazon.
Okay.
They just put in a huge order for 200 electric e-Actros, 600 trucks, Mercedes-Benz trucks.
Wow, that's a big order.
It is, and it's a big deal for a couple of reasons.
Like what?
Well, first, it's the largest order of its kind for both Amazon and Mercedes-Benz trucks.
Okay.
So it shows Amazon is really serious about electrifying their fleet. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
These trucks aren't going to the U.S.
Right.
They're going to Europe.
Huh. What's the strategy there?
That's what everyone's wondering.
Yeah, especially when you think about how different the eActros 600 is from a typical American truck.
Yeah, explain that a little.
So think of it this way. A standard U.S. truck is like a powerful SUV built for long hauls.
Okay.
The Actros is more like a city car designed for efficiency in tighter spaces.
Okay.
It's got a bover design.
Meaning?
The driver sits on top of the engine,
Okay.
and it's shorter and lighter than a typical U.S. Class 8 truck.
Interesting. So it seems like it's made for European roads and regulations.
Yeah, but I think there's more to it.
Like what?
Well, both Europe and the U.S. are struggling with a lack of charging infrastructure for electric trucks.
Okay. Yeah.
So is Amazon targeting Europe because their charging infrastructure is further along? Or are they using Europe as a testing ground before bringing electric trucks to the U.S.?
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah, it raises more questions than answers.
It does. It makes you wonder what their long-term plan is for the U.S.
Exactly. Are they waiting for infrastructure to catch up?
Right. Or do they have something else planned?
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
keep an eye on it for sure.
Mm.
Okay. And our last company today,
Yeah?
Aurora Innovation.
Okay.
They're in a legal battle with the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration.
The FMCSA.
Yeah, the U.S. agency that regulates trucking.
Okay.
And this lawsuit could have a big impact on the entire industry.
How so?
Well, they were denied an exemption
An exemption for what?
for using cab-mounted warning beacons,
Instead of...
the traditional roadside devices that are required for stopped trucks.
Okay.
But Aurora is saying that those flashing beacons on the truck are a safer and more efficient option
Okay.
for autonomous vehicles.
But the FMCSA is sticking to the old rules.
Yeah, and Aurora's argument is that the FMCSA doesn't even have data to support those devices.
Interesting.
Yeah, they're basically saying you're making us use something that you haven't even proven works.
So what happens now?
Well, it's already in court.
Oh, well.
And here's the ironic part. The FMCSA, after denying Aurora's request because they didn't have data,
Yeah.
is now starting their own study on cab-mounted beacons.
Oh, wow. So the very technology that Aurora proposed.
Exactly. Talk about too little, too late.
Yeah, it shows how much friction there is between innovation and regulation.
Yeah, this case isn't just about warning lights, though.
Right.
It's about setting a precedent.
How so?
Well, if Aurora wins,
Yeah.
it could mean that other companies could challenge regulations and push for faster adoption of new technologies.
But if the FMCSA wins, it could mean that everyone has to stick to the current rules, and that could slow things down.
Exactly. And it raises a really important question.
What's that?
How do we balance encouraging innovation with ensuring safety on the roads?
Yeah, especially with technology that's changing so quickly.
Exactly. It's a question that we'll be dealing with for years to come.
Yeah, for sure. We've been talking about these big moves from Torc Amazon and Aurora.
Yeah.
And it's clear they're all really going for it with this autonomous trucking future. But there's another side to all this that I think we need to talk about.
What's that?
The human element.
Yeah.
How is all this going to impact the people who make a living from trucking today?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of anxiety around this idea of robots taking over the trucking industry.
Right, and understandably so.
Trucking is a vital part of the economy.
Absolutely.
And for many drivers, it's more than just a job, it's a way of life.
Yeah, I think it's important to acknowledge those concerns, but I also think we need to remember that this transition to fully autonomous trucking isn't going to happen overnight.
Right.
It's going to be a gradual process, probably taking decades, not years.
So it's not really robots versus humans.
Right.
It's more of a shift in the types of roles and skills that will be needed.
Exactly. And the companies that are leading the charge on this, they know that. They're not just focusing on the tech.
Yeah.
They're also thinking about how to manage this transition so that it benefits their businesses and the workforce.
Like Torc Robotics. They're not just building driverless trucks.
Right.
They're getting truck drivers involved in the development.
That's smart.
Yeah, they're getting feedback from drivers, learning from their expertise, using that knowledge to refine their systems.
I mean, who better to train an autonomous truck than experienced drivers, right?
Exactly. And it's not just Torc, Amazon is doing it too.
Oh, yeah.
Even though they're investing so much in electric trucks, they're also putting money into driver training programs, initiatives to improve working conditions.
So it seems like the companies that will succeed are the ones that know that tech isn't everything.
Yeah.
They need to combine automation with human expertise.
Because the trucking industry is really complex.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's not just about driving.
Right.
It's about logistics, maintenance, customer service, understanding the road.
Yeah, all things that humans will be needed for.
For a long time.
Absolutely.
So we talked about jobs, but what about the environment?
Ah, yes.
We know Amazon's going electric in Europe, but how do those trucks compare to diesel trucks when it comes to energy consumption and emissions?
That's a great question. And I think it's something we need to be thinking about as autonomous trucking grows.
Yeah.
Electric trucks themselves are a step in the right direction. But we need to look at the bigger picture.
You're talking about the energy needed to power the autonomous systems, right?
Exactly. All those sensors, computers, algorithms, they need a lot of energy.
Yeah.
So even if an electric truck is running on renewable energy, we have to think about the carbon footprint of producing that energy.
So electric trucks are good?
Yes.
But it's not a simple solution.
It's not. And to make things even more complicated, autonomous trucks, even diesel ones, could be more fuel efficient than human drivers.
How so?
They can optimize routes, avoid braking and accelerating too much, and maintain a steady speed.
All of which saves fuel.
Exactly. So there's a lot to consider.
Yeah, it sounds like we're still figuring out the environmental impact of all this.
We are. And as the technology gets better, we need to keep asking those tough questions about energy consumption emissions. The sustainability of all of this.
You can't just focus on the good stuff.
Right. We need to look at the costs, too.
So it's like we're at a crossroads. One path leads to a more efficient, maybe cleaner trucking industry.
But the other path
could have some bad consequences.
Yeah. If we're not careful.
Oh, I think that's a good way to put it.
And the decisions made today by companies and regulators are going to determine which path we end up on.
It's a big moment for transportation. Well, we've talked about a lot in this deep dive.
Yeah, we have.
From Torc going all in on one route to Amazon and those European electric trucks.
And of course, Aurora and that court case.
Yeah. It really seems like the future of trucking is being written right now.
It does, and there's so many possibilities.
But also some potential problems.
Right, like we've been saying.
The decisions made today will have an impact for years to come.
And not just on the trucking industry.
Right, it'll affect the economy, the workforce, and the environment. So for our listeners, what are the big takeaways?
I think the most important thing is to see how this all plays out between innovation and regulation.
Yeah.
We saw it with Aurora and their lawsuit. And I think that's going to keep happening as the technology gets better.
So how do we make regulations that keep people safe,
Right.
but also don't stop progress?
That's the tough part.
Yeah, and it's not just up to the government, is it?
No, I think companies like Torc, Amazon, and Aurora have a responsibility too.
To develop and use this technology responsibly.
Exactly. They need to be open about their testing and their safety protocols.
And what they're doing to reduce risks.
Right. And they need to work with truck drivers.
Yeah, to make sure this transition goes smoothly.
Absolutely. And this is where our listeners come in.
Yeah, how so?
Well, they can ask those tough questions. Demand transparency from these companies.
And support the organizations that are pushing for a responsible approach.
Exactly. Don't just believe the headlines. Do your research, learn about the companies, the tech, and think about what it all means.
The more we know, the better we can handle this change and make a future where everyone benefits.
I think you said it perfectly.
So it's not about just watching this happen.
Right.
It's about being part of the conversation.
Asking questions, making informed choices.
Yeah, because the future of transportation is at stake.
It really is, and that's a great point to end on.
The future is in our hands.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Into the world of autonomous trucking.
Keep exploring. Keep asking questions. Keep learning.
Until next time.